Well, now, as of this June 15th, a month ago, now we're in crypto summer. Well, what's crypto summer? Crypto summer is the year leading up to the halving. But so I would say that's a long-winded way of saying kind of between now and the halving in April, my guess is we drift upwards towards 50K.
How,
From
when you look
April to the following April, that's where I think we could double or even treble into the fair value. By then will drift upwards toward that 100K, which is what I think is fair value for this halving.
Mark Yusko, the founder and managing director of Morgan Creek Capital, is adamant that the crypto spring is over and summaries are now in full flow. Yusko discussed the key characteristics of the various cryptocurrency market seasons in an interview with the Paul Bearer Network on Tuesday. He also gave his predictions for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market as a whole, both before and after the 2024 halving event. Yusko clarifies during the conversation that the four-year crypto cycles are actual and quite good at forecasting price trends. According to Yusko, Bitcoin will quickly increase to its current fair value price of approximately $50,000 per coin in the months prior to the unit's half. Yusko is forecasting further price hikes to roughly $100,000 per coin, more than a 200% gain over Bitcoin's present price following the halving event, which would increase the Bitcoin stock-to-flow ratio and make the top crypto assets scarcer and more precious. According to the managing director of Morgan Creek Capital, $100,000. There are other predictions for the start of the crypto summer besides Bitcoin's fair value price from this halving cycle years ago. Popular macro guru Raoul Pal has expressed similar thoughts in recent interviews. Popular Bitcoin experts Plan B also thanked investors on surviving a horrific bear market on Wednesday. "Congratulations, you have survived the worst Bitcoin bear market history," reads a tweet. The tweet currently has over 7,000 likes and hundreds of replies, the most of which concur with Plan B's claim that the bear market is finally over. The former institutional investor and anonymous analyst debate the significance of the impending halving event and what it would entail for Bitcoin's price in the following months in another tweet. Few people are aware that after the 2024 halving, Bitcoin will become more scarce than both gold and real estate. The ratio of Bitcoin stock to flow is currently 55, and after the halving, it would be 110. One thing is for sure, being the most valuable resource in the world will have an impact. Not only do Plan B and Mark Yusko appear to agree that a bull market is about to start, but they also seem to agree on the significance of the Bitcoin price halving event that will take place next year. We will now show you excerpts from Yusko's conversation with Barron. If you find the video informative, please watch it through to the end, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button.
I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but I think we're really just getting started.
Yeah.
Look, the cyclicality of digital assets is real. It's this 4-year cycle, and why do we have a 4-year cycle? Fear and greed. And it's kind of baked into or coded actually into the way Bitcoin in particular works, right? You have these block rewards, the amount of money or the amount of Bitcoin that is rewarded to miners for securing the network. Every 4 years, that number gets cut in half. Now, whoever thought of this, whoever he, she, they, Satoshi happens to be, it's absolutely mad genius. Well, why is it mad genius? Well, it creates movement. Well, why does it do that? Well, if you think about it, the miners, their core costs are basically fixed, electricity and the machines. And so if suddenly your revenues were cut in half because the block rewards get cut in half, most of them go out of business. So what has to happen? The price has to rise. So there's a built-in movement of the price. And once the price starts to rise, people start to follow, right? That's what traders do. They look for movement. Yep. And then that creates more movement. And so we get this exacerbation of the trend. Now, part of the problem is it starts undervalued because the beginning of the cycle post the halving usually occurs around, a period after the crash, the previous crash.
Right.
So we have crypto winter, prices fall, prices are undervalued, anticipation of the next halving comes along, and investors start accumulating assets. Well, what's an investor? An investor is someone who buys an asset that sells below its fair value. So today, fair value, depending on the model that you look at, the model I like, which is based on Metcalfe's law, says that fair value of Bitcoin is around 55K. Okay, so at 30K, we're below that. So as an investor, I like to buy assets that are below fair value. Well, then what'll happen is as you get out of crypto winter into crypto spring, which a year ago we went into crypto spring, as we talked about, it's choppy, it's volatile. You kind of don't end up much different. I think over the past year, we're up about 50%. Now, that's a good move, but it's not the 100% off the cyclical low, but it's a nice move. So my guess is that between now and the halving in April, we'll drift slowly and calmly up toward that fair value. And then what happens is after the investors get their fill, buying the asset below fair value, then the speculators come in. Well, what's a speculator? Speculator is just the opposite of a hedger. Well, what's a hedger? A hedger is someone that has to sell something because they're producing it, like the miners, right? They're selling their Bitcoin as they produce it to pay for electricity and machines. Well, a speculator just takes the opposite side of that. They're not good, bad, or indifferent. They're just, there's a seller, there has to be a buyer. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every buyer, there's a seller. So that pushes us up above kind of fair value. Well, then what happens is we get the parabolic, crypto fall, kind of the Indian summer, the big move. And that's where the punters come in, right? Yeah. The really levered.
Yeah.
And they're going to push the price way above fair value. So I would say that's a long-winded way of saying kind of between now and the halving in April, my guess is we drift upwards towards 50K.
From you look
April to the following April, that's where I think we could double or even treble into the fair value. By then we'll drift upwards toward that 100K, which is what I think is fair value for this halving. The early adopter move is over, right? I mean, we're past the kind of 11% early adoption. You think about the S curve. You get the first 10, 11% over the first decade. You get the next 80% over the next decade, and then the maturity, after that. And so I think we're past early adoption. Now, part of the challenge is the law of large numbers, right? When we went from the first halving from 10 to 100, 10x move. Okay, that was pretty easy because you're talking really tiny numbers. Didn't need a lot of volume to get to $100 a coin. I mean, and then you went to 100 to 1,000, another 10x move, and that's a little harder, but still pretty easy. You go to 1,000 to 10,000. That was the last halving. That was tougher. Although we went right through 10,000, right up to 20,000 before the crash. Well, this halving, I think, is 100,000 at fair value. So it's a 10x between halvings. Why 10x? There's lots of different reasons for why that works on the Metcalfe's law parabola. But let's just say we get to that 100,000 for fair value. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to go from 10,000 to 100,000 than it is from 1,000 to 10,000. Right? Just need more people, more dollars. Yep. The market cap gets bigger. We're talking trillions. Plural as opposed to half a trillion. So I think it will be tougher to get the same kind of percentage move, but the total dollar move will be much bigger.
Yeah.
And that's where this supply demand comes in.
Exactly.
Not if, but when, and I believe when BlackRock is awarded their crown and they become the king and they get the first Bitcoin ETF, even though they don't I won't say deserve it in the sense that they were not doing the early adoption work. They were not, the ones there believing in it. But now they are part of the inner circle and they know who to influence. I won't say anything negative, but they know who to influence to get the job done. Yeah. And so I think they'll get the first one. Now, whether anyone else gets it, I don't know. I look at the gold ETF, right? The gold ETF delayed 4 years. 4 years we waited for the gold ETF. And then they gave it to one group. GLD took off. Now there are other gold ETFs that came along,
Right.
but they're much smaller. GLD
Yep.
really is the axe. Sadly, cycles repeat. So we will have another bear market, right? After we run, because again, I say, it's just me, I say fair value for this halving sometime in 2024 is 100K. Okay, that's my view.
Okay.
I think we'll go far beyond that because greed and speculative fervor and leverage. Now, I don't think there'll be as much leverage this cycle, Paul, as there were in the last ones.
Right.
So could we get to 200K? Could we get to 250K? You know, Tim Draper and I have talked about that 250 number as kind of half the value of gold. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But then we'll have
so
another
there's
crash.
still a lot of room.
Yeah,
for sure.
But then think about it. The next halving, which is in 2028, I will argue that's another tenfold increase as we get broader adoption and we go up the Metcalfe's law curve. That takes us to $1 million a coin. You go back to the 13 bull market, we had like a 40x move.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 17 bull market, we had a 20x move. This time we probably have a 10x move. And the next one, we probably have a 5x move. So the order of magnitude in terms of total dollars is much bigger.
Sure.
But the multiple is smaller just because of the law of large numbers.
What do you think of Yusko's Plan B and Standard Chartered's Bitcoin price forecasts? Do you believe that, as everyone predicts, Bitcoin will reach a value of $100,000 by the end of 2024 or the beginning of 2025? Please share your opinions, comments, and observations in the section below. Please turn on post alerts, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching.